Look at that. Like, am I kidding? 3 taps? Who do I think I am? We're gonna take product off because look at, can you see? Trust me. Hi you guys, welcome back to the Clean Beauty Code. I'm so excited for this video because we're doing a full face of brand and we're also reviewing a new product from that brand. We are doing a full face of ILIA Cosmetics, and then we're also talking about their new blurring blush that they came out with. I've been trying it out and I love, it's a powder blush, and I was very excited to get my hands on it because powder blushes are generally my favorite formulas. They just last so long, and I'm really happy with how the makeup came out today. I've been trying and testing it out against other blushes or powder blushes that I love, and I have some thoughts. And I just want to jump into the video and get started. So if you're excited for this video and more videos like this, then please like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this full face of ILIA Cosmetics and a review of their new blurring blush. A full face of ILIA Cosmetics. Let's get into it. And I'm really, really excited to show you guys the new blush that they came out with that I've been testing out. Anyways, first we're going to start with eyebrows. And we have the ILIA Eyebrow Gel. And I really like this wand brush that they have because it doesn't have too much product on it, which is really nice. And I'm just going to brush up my brows. And with this one, I do need to let it sit for a couple of seconds before I go on with brow, like a brow pencil or brow pen. So I'm just going to brush them up, and then we're going to let them sit for about 30 seconds to a minute, and then we'll move on to the base. Brows are dry. Now we're moving on to our brow pencil. This is the ILIA Brow Pencil. What is the full name? Micro something? It is the In Full Micro Tip Brow Pencil. It's really nice because the tip is nice and small, so you can really feather in hairs. There are ones that are even smaller than this, but this is really nice and has a spoolie on the end. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in. Should I grab? Yeah, let me grab. I'm going to just grab an up close mirror, and I'm going to fill in. I have a scar here. I'm going to fill that in first. And this is in the shade dark brown, black brown, dark brown. And I'm just gonna fill that in and then feather in along the brow. I really need to get my brows done, and I'm not getting them done for like 2 weeks or something like that. And here, I don't know if you can tell, we have growth to here. I might have to pluck one of the hairs, at least one, because it's looking a little Oscar the Grouch. We're going to move on to complexion, and ILIA has a few complexion products. So the first one is the ILIA, their skin tint. I don't have a perfect shade match in this. I mixed 2 shades together. I have ST13, and then this one's 12.75. I don't love the shade range here. I really struggle even with mixing shades together. I really, really struggle, which is so surprising because with the other complexion products that they have, I don't struggle. For me, I feel like the skin tint skews a little bit too orange and warm, at least for my undertones. This is nice. It's definitely not something that right now, with the fact that it's hot and all of that I would be grabbing, because this does get dewy, and especially my T-zone. I have an oily T-zone. It just doesn't work for this time of year for me. It does have a strong scent. Well, it goes away, but it is a scent that you notice. It isn't like a very light, mild scent, and it does smell a little bit like Play-Doh. I know a lot of people struggle with the scent here. It doesn't really bother me too much, but I do notice it, and I can understand why some people don't enjoy it. So we're not going to be using these today, but these are one of the options. Then we have their foundation stick, and this one is great because it gives me nice coverage, evens out my kind of complexion. This is a really good shade match. This one's, what is it, 24? If my eyes don't get a grip. Yeah, 24N Cypress. This is a great shade match for me. And then I also have my fave, the ILIA Serum Foundation, or what's the full name? True Skin Serum Foundation. I love this. I wear the shade Maraca in this. It is so beautiful. It reminds me of Armani Luminous Silk. If you're looking for an alternative to that or you want to try something different, this is a really nice alternative. I, again, have combo skin, so I have an oily T-zone, and it doesn't get too oily looking or dewy looking on me. It is just perfect. I'm going to go with the foundation stick today, though, because my skin just, I feel like my skin's going to work best with this one today. And I'm going to just show you the, look at that shade match. Not to be dramatic, but that's a very, very nice shade match. And I'm just going to draw it kind of around my face. Like that. And I'm not going to let it sit or anything. I'm going to blend it out, and I'm going to blend it out with a brush. And I'm just going to take a brush and just blend around the face. And this gives nice coverage on me. I like the finish of it. It is very nice and natural in finish. Even when I'm wearing something that's more dewy as a base product, it performs really well and it doesn't get too dewy or anything in my T-zone. Just love what that foundation does. It looks so good. You have to let me know what you think of the shade match and all that. Now we're moving on to concealer, and I have two shades of the concealer. I have the shade Chia and another wasabi, another food. Wasabi. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a little bit of a mix of both of them. So I'm actually going to take just a touch of Chia, because it's definitely a little bit dark for me, but I don't want to be quite as bright as wasabi. So I'm going to mix the two together. I just want to, I don't know why it didn't do this in a better spot, but that's okay. We're going to just make sure it focuses. So we have Chia on the bottom and wasabi on the top. And I'm going to just mix them together with my finger. Like so. So this is what it looks like when it's mixed together. And I'm going to just take a little bit of that. And I can always add a little bit more of wasabi to brighten, but I like the shade that this creates for a more natural look. And then I might add a little bit of wasabi to brighten it up a little bit more. I'm going to take the same brush and I'm just going to tap it in to my under eyes to blend out the concealer. I don't want too much concealer today. This has a nice medium coverage. It's comfortable to wear. And I don't find that it makes my mascara run or anything, which is really nice. Now I'm going to take a little bit more of wasabi right here. I'm going to let this sit for about 30 seconds and then blend it out. So give me 30 seconds and we'll be right back. All right, it's been 30 seconds. We're going to take the same brush and just kind of pat in. I don't want to move the shade too much. I want to focus it right here because this is where I have the most darkness. I did not sleep well last night. Under eyes are concealed. What do you guys think of the shade? I feel like the two mixed together is a really good shade match. And when I get, let me get a humbling mirror. When I get close to a mirror, it isn't very apparent or anything. It really just kind of blends into the under eyes really seamless. There's a reason that this concealer always wins in the Allure Best of Beauty category from you guys, right? So from all of us, the consumers, we're the critics' choice portion of it. I think it's called critics' choice. It always, I feel like the last 4 years it's been in there, which is wild because that's a long time to hold on to a spot. But anyways, I really like this concealer. Now we're going to move on to bronzer, and I have two options. The first one is the ILIA Nightlife Bronzing Powder. This is a matte powder, and this is in the shade Novelty. And I actually haven't used this in so long, I just realized. Let me do a little swatch for you right here so you can see. That is the bronzer shade, and I know it looks light, but it does do a nice bronze for me, especially when I'm slightly more tan because it is a warm bronzer. And then we have this one, which I'm obsessed with. This is the Sunshift Cream Bronzer in the shade Rise. This is so beautiful. I think I'm going to use this one today just because it's a little bit more neutral in undertone. Make sure it captures everything. So it is here. And it's, yeah, there you go. It has a nice sheen to it, but it's not glittery. I don't know how to explain it. It has like a, maybe it's a, no, it's not glittery. It has like a sheen. That's the only way I can describe it. And I think I'm going to go with this one today. And then if I need to go on with the other bronzer, we'll go on top with that. So I'm going to take this on just the back of my hand. This is one I also really like to wear on my eye because it's so pretty. Do you see? Look how pretty. And I'm going to take this brush here. It's a Heavenly Luxe number 7. I'm going to dip into this, and then we're just going to, do you see how pretty that is? We're just going to build it up. I'm going to take whatever is left and just kind of pull it down my nose just for a little bit of extra bronze and for a little bit of cohesion in the makeup look. And that is the bronzer. What do you guys think of the shade? Do you think it's a good match? Do you think it's not dark enough? Let me know down below. I feel like a lot of the times I get comments like, that bronzer is not bronzing. You use the lightest shade possible, which a lot of the time you're not wrong. Anyways, now we're going to move on to blush, and we have 2 options. Now, I'm going to only use one, but I want to talk about the other one. So we have the ILIA Multi-Stick in the shade Lady Bird. This shade is so beautiful. Let me, oh my goodness. It is such a beautiful blush shade, and I feel like so many complexions will be able to use the shade, and they have so many beautiful shades in general, and this is a nice long wearing blush. And I know they have highlighters, and I do believe they have more bronzy style multi-sticks, but this is really beautiful, and I always get compliments when I wear that shade. It just lays so nicely on the cheeks. It looks really natural, and the shade itself is stunning. And then we have the newest launch from ILIA, and it's this. It's their Soft Focus Blurring Blush. Look how beautiful that is. And this is in the shade Wonder. I was really unsure which shade to pick because a lot of them I was like, this isn't really going to look like much on me. But I didn't want to go too, because there were some that looked really intense and really bright. I do hope they come out with more shades that I feel like will work for more someone who wants something a little bit more berry instead of more of a vibrant pink, because they have like vibrant pink, they have a vibrant orange. They have something that looks like it could be more of a berry, but then when you look at it and kind of swatch it, it does look like it's more of like a berry tone, but more on the pink side of berry instead of on the purple side of berry. But anyways, I digress. So this is the shade Wonder. It is very, very pretty. I'm going to do a swatch. So this is a powder blush, and I'm just going to pull this down so you can see it's very pretty. It has, again, like the their cream lit, absolutely not. their sunlit cream bronzer. It has like a sheen to it, but it isn't glittery. I don't know how to explain it, but it is a very pretty powder blush. I love a powder blush. I've always preferred a powder blush because A, they last really long, but also there's just something about a powder blush with a little bit of illumination, a little bit of something that still can look really healthy on the cheeks without it being flat looking. I don't know how to explain it, but this happens to be one of those where it just looks really pretty on the cheeks. I'm very excited to try this on for you guys. So I like to apply powder blush with a few different options. So I have a brush like this, which is a dual fiber brush. Then a lot of the time I like to apply with a brush like this, a fluffy brush. Even something like this, the ILIA Beauty, what is this full name? Their powder brush. Yeah, their powder brush. This would work really well on your cheeks as well. And then also something like this where you're just kind of like lightly applying it. What I want to do today, I've used all the brushes with this. I want to go on with this and I'm going to hold the back. This, although it seems as though maybe, okay, already, look at that. Like, am I kidding? 3 taps? Who do I think I am? We're going to take product off because look at, can you see? Trust me, it can get away. Well, depends on the brush you use, obviously, but it can get away from you quick. I learned that the hard way. And I'm just going to kind of pat. Look at that. Look how pretty that shade is, though. And we're just going to pat. I do want to kind of focus it on the apples of my cheeks and then pull it back a little bit. We're going to blend it out so it doesn't look so intense. But it is a very pretty blush, and the way that it just kind of, I don't know how to explain it. Also, I don't know if you saw, it doesn't have a mirror. I know some people that might bug them. It doesn't bother me, but I'm going to use this mirror here just because it's more humbling and up close, and I make sure I'm doing a better job. But it is very pretty, and it's very pigmented. So that is what it looks like without me blending out the edges. We're going to blend out the edges now with, am I kidding? Hello? Oh, it's right here. I'm not paying attention. I'm going to take the side that we blended the concealer out with and just go around the edges to kind of tone it down. Blush is blended. What do you think of the shade? I actually really like this, you guys. This, she's a good one. I'm going to actually do a powder blush video where I kind of deep dive and compare it to other ones that I have, because I feel like powder blush is about to have kind of its moment, its comeback. I know that cream blush has had its moment. That's never going to go. But I feel like people are going to be into the powder blush, mainly because it lasts so much longer. And it's not something you have to worry about as much. It's not quite as finicky. Not that all cream blushes are finicky, but they are a little bit more temperamental, especially when you want to wear it all day. And a lot of people don't like to set with a powder blush. I feel like setting with a powder blush is a must, but I really like this shade. Should we apply more? No, that feels crazy. Just right, I didn't dip back in, just right on the apples of the cheeks. I feel like that's crazy. We're gonna look crazy. Yep. We in fact do. We in fact might have overdone it. Let's go back in. No, we didn't. It's fine. We'll just go around the edge again. I really, really enjoy this formula. I like the fact that it doesn't skip. So when I apply it with a brush like this, I dip in and just one. Don't do what I did at the beginning of this blush application. Don't triple dip. That's crazy. You can always layer it up. I dip in and then I kind of just hold the back of the brush and then I just kind of very lightly sweep it. And it doesn't create any patchiness with this formula or this brush, which is really nice. Or something like this, where I just kind of tap. I don't know why I'm applying more. I'm not actually applying more because it's not more on the brush, but I just feel like, all right, well, you know, we're here, so why not? But I just kind of tap it on and it looks so beautiful. You have to let me know what you think. It is nice and you can build this up. I'm not going to go super heavy-handed with this, but you can definitely build this up. And this formula lasts all day. And it layers really nicely on top of cream blushes. I've tested it on top of. It layers beautifully on top of bare skin. When maybe I just want a little bit of a flush, but I don't want full makeup or anything like that. This layers really nicely on kind of bare skin. It also layers really nicely on top of more powdery products, liquid products. It blends really well. It mixes really well. And look how healthy it makes the cheeks look. Look how healthy my cheeks look. I love a healthy cheek blush, and this is very, very pretty. This, I would say, is a slightly warm. It's not super warm, but it definitely has a little bit of warmth, the shade Wonder, to it. I think they described it as a more terracotta-y shade. To me, this is a really good flush from like, oh, I was outside type of flush, if that makes sense. I don't know if what I'm describing makes sense, but it's more of a natural flush, I would say, for a lot of people, because it does have that a little bit more red tone in it in terms of like the terracotta, but it is very pretty. So this is what it looks like when I tapped it off. This again was the 3 dips, and then I was like, oh whoops, and then I tapped it off. So that's what that looks like. But I want to do just a swatch right here for you, just so that you can see how fully stunning that is. I feel like a lot of people, this shade is going to be a shade that speaks to a lot of people. You have to let me know down below what you think of it. Have you tried this formula? I'm very impressed with it, and I'm very happy to see more brands coming out with powder blushes, just because I just love a powder blush. I just do. Anyways, enough of that. Now we're going to move on to the highlighters, and we have 2 highlighters here today. So the first one is the same kind of release as the bronzer that I applied. This is the Light Shift Cream Highlighter, and this is in the shade Arc, and this is so pretty. I find that this formula is slightly thicker, not thicker, has less slip, I would say, than the bronzer. I feel like the bronzer is slightly creamier, but this is the shade. It's very pretty. I hope it's, yeah, there we go. I hope it's capturing it. So, yeah, there we go. Very pretty. And then we have a powder highlighter from ILIA, and this one is their Daylight Highlighting Powder in the shade Starstruck, and this is a very pretty highlighter shade as well. That is right here, so you can see the difference between the two, or I hope you can. But they are both very, very pretty, and I would say that this one, the powder highlighter, is a little bit more intense, and I'm kind of feeling, let's do both actually. You know what, we're gonna do both. I feel like, why not? I'm gonna take a little bit of this one here. Again, this is the shade Arc, and I'm going to put it on my finger, and I'm going to, on the tip of my nose, down the bridge, pull it, and then I'm also going to take a little bit, just a touch. Look how pretty. And that's such a pretty, just, I don't know. I love a highlight. Are you a highlighter person? Let me know down below. I'm going to do the same on this side. I don't like to take too much, so I put some on my finger and I tap a little bit off, because I can always layer up more, but sometimes stuff just gets away from you real quick. I mean, it's so pretty. The blush is just everything. Then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to take the powder highlight, and I'm going to do tip of the nose, down the bridge. Look at how stunning that is. I love highlighter. It might be my kryptonite, and I'm also going to put it on the high points of my cheek. I'm just going to do it with my finger. I'm just going to really melt it in. And then I'm going to not dip back into the blush, but I'm going to just make sure that everything marries in together really well. So I'm just going to tap a little bit with the blush, but again, I didn't dip back in because she's pigmented, and whatever is remaining, she's doing her job. Anyways, now we're going to move on to the eye, but I also kind of want to set my face a little bit, so we're going to use the ILIA powder. So this is their Fade Into You powder. This is a really nice powder, in my opinion, and it does a nice job of blurring and all that good stuff. I'm going to take my Ami Collet powder brush. Also, if you want this brush, Ami Collet is unfortunately closing, so if you want this brush, I get questions about this specific brush all the time when I'm using it in videos. Grab it now, because unfortunately, again, they're closing, and I stocked up on my faves from them because I will not be without their powder. I refuse. So I bought a few powders like a crazy person, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I'm just tapping off the excess back into the cap, and then I'm just gonna look at that. This, if you struggle with finding a powder that you feel like is blurring, but also mattifies, but also doesn't feel really intense, this is one to use. And it is very nice. And it doesn't show up. It doesn't look powdery or super white cast on darker skin, which is really nice. And again, I'm just going to tap around my T-zone and under my eyes, and then we're going to move on to the eyes. Look at the blur that just, I feel like it blurred out my imperfections. It looks so nice. The cheeks still look really healthy. You have to let me know if you're a fan of this powder. I feel like the ILIA blush, it says it's blurring, and it definitely gives you some nice blurring capabilities. And I don't know, just a really big fan, and the powder does a great job. Now what I want to do is, before we go on to the eyelid with any eyeshadow or anything, I'm going to just take whatever is left in this and just pull it over my eyelid to have a little bit of powder down before we go on with anything else. Now we're moving on to the eyes. So I have their eyeshadow stick, which currently is my favorite. I'm just loving this. It's in the shade Fawn with a U, and it is such a beautiful kind of shadow shade. I feel like that's a terrible place to put that because I have so much makeup on my hands. So we're going to move to the other side. I hope that, yeah, there you go. It is a really beautiful kind of shadow shade. It's cool tone enough, but it isn't so cool tone that it looks ashy on me. And I'm going to pull this on my lower lash line. Then what I actually want to do is I want to pull it through my crease a little bit. Like that. It's such a pretty shade. And then I'm actually going to just take this eyeshadow brush. There's nothing on it. And I'm going to just pull it like this and kind of blend that out. I'm kind of thinking I want to pull it all over the lid. Is that crazy? No, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to actually pull it all over the lid like this and then just blend with my finger. What's nice about this is that it actually is a nice, I don't know, I don't know how to explain, like nice dry feel to it, in the way where you're kind of, it's not dry where it crumbles or anything like that, but it kind of just, you know, it's going to stay put, and it isn't so emollient and soft that it kind of, you feel like it's gonna just go away almost immediately. And then again, I'm just gonna take that same brush and just make sure everything is blended and nice. Now what I want to do is I want to dip into this ILIA eyeshadow palette. This is their warm nude palette. It's very pretty, and I'm going to dip into this darker shade here. I'm not doing that. I lied. Oh. Yes, that's, yeah. No, I'm not doing that. First, I'm going to dip into the bronzer that I was using. I'm going to dip in just with my finger, and I'm going to place a little bit, look how pretty. Do you see that? A little bit of the product down on my lid. Just kind of sweeping it over. I don't want it to go too high. I want it just exclusively on the actual just lid before the crease. Okay, loving that. Now what I want to do is I actually want to dip into this eyeshadow color here with my pinky finger. There shimmers in these palettes. They're so nice and buttery. I'm just going to highlight in the inner corner. And it's just, I mean, it's so beautiful. If you want a more blinding highlight than the highlighters that I used today, I've used this as a highlighter before, and when I just wanted to bring one palette with me, I didn't want to have a bunch of stuff. It's absolutely stunning. Then what I want to do is I actually want to take a slanted brush, which am I blind? I was. It was directly in front of me. I'm going to dip into this brown color. Dip. Tap off the excess, and then we're going to create kind of a eyeliner They do have an actual eyeliner that we'll talk about. I'm just not in the mood for a liquid liner, and that's what I have from them. And we're just going to kind of build it up a little bit. And we really just want it to kind of thicken my lash line. I don't want an aggressive eyeliner today. Now I want to take this shade here, the brown shade that I just used, and actually I want to pull a little bit on the outer edge, not all the way, just kind of the outer 3/4 maybe. I feel like that math that I just did is wildly incorrect, but the outer kind of quarter right here of my lower lash line, I'm gonna tap off, and I'm just gonna a little bit. I want very little. These are pigmented, so I don't want to go over the top. I'm just gonna pull it up like this, but just right kind of here, yeah. And just add a little bit of smoke. I don't want it to be too intense, but I do want a little bit of something. All right, I'm happy with that. Now what I want to do is I want to dip back in. I think I want to do just a touch of a wing. Just a touch, nothing crazy, and just kind of stamp a wing. I don't want it to be like a full anything crazy, but I just want it to kind of be an extension of my lashes. So just put it down like that, and that's the entire wing. Nothing too fussy. So same thing here. And that is the wing, nothing too crazy. Now we do have a liquid eyeliner. Should I use this too? I feel like that's crazy. No, maybe not. So this is the ILIA eyeliner. And this is black, right? I think it's black. It looks black. Midnight Express. That feels like a name for a black inky color. So I just want to show you really quick the line that it can kind of create. And what's nice about this is the tip isn't super movie. You know how some eyeliners, the tip moves a ton, liquid liners, this one doesn't move a ton. So it's easier, in my opinion at least, to apply eyeliner this way. I'm gonna, you know what, we're gonna do a little bit. Just a touch, just very close to the lash line. Eyeliner is on. I know I barely applied any, but it's nice and it lasts long. So now I just want to show you this dried down. It isn't glossy or anything, which is really nice, but it isn't super matte, that it is almost like dry looking, if that makes sense. It is a nice eyeliner, and then I just want to go over it real quick so you can see. So it stays put. At least on my eyes it does. I do have a little bit of oiliness on my eyelid. I did put a little bit of powder down. But look, even just, I'm trying to like get it off. You really, really, really got to rub, or just use like a makeup remover or micellar water or oil kind of cleanser balm type thing to remove it, because for me, if I don't, it lasts really, really long. Anyways, now we're gonna move on to mascara, and we have two mascaras. We have the ILIA Voluminous Mascara, which of the two isn't my favorite of the two. It is a fine one, but I do find that I do get some running with this one. It's not anything that it's so offensive where by the end of the day I'm looking like a raccoon. However, the Limitless one just works better for me, which is the other one. So this is that. This is their Voluminous Mascara. Voluminous is volumizing. Their Fullest Volumizing Mascara. I really like the color of this too, though. I love it. Then we have the ILIA, their Limitless Mascara, which is my most talked about. And I feel like I gotta use it because I talk about it all the time. Or at least I used to talk about it more. It's still a favorite, even though I don't talk about it as much, but it's very nice. This one has a, this one has a plastic wand, and we're going to use this one today. So what I like to do is I like to start with the shorter bristles first, then move on to the longer bristles. And I'm gonna do one eye first so you can see the difference that the mascara makes. This is the mascara on this side, no mascara on this side. What do you guys think? This is a really nice, easy mascara to wear. It builds up really nicely. It gives me good volume if I want to. If I don't want any volume, I just want like a really easy lash day with just one light coat. This is great as well. It gives kind of that Glossier lash slick kind of look when you just do one, you know, quick light coat. Now I'm going to do the second eye. Mascara is on. What do you guys think? I did a very light coat just on the lower outer half lashes, just for a little extra oomph. What do you guys think of the mascara? I really like this one. Again, of the two, this one is my favorite because this one does run on me. If I wear the ILIA volumizing mascara, then I definitely need to go and set my under eyes with a good amount of powder, especially on my lash, like right by the lashes area. I'll add a little bit more powder or something if I really want to make sure that I don't have any running in that area. Now we're moving on to lips, and we have two lip products from ILIA. The first one here is their lip oil. I think it's in the shade Tahini. Nope, Tahini's crazy. It's Tahiti. But this is their lip oil. Let me just do a little swatch. It's a very pretty shade. I feel like this is a great summer shade for a lot of people. And then we have their lip pencil. And this is in the shade, what is it? It's Gala. And this is that shade here. I think I'm going to go with this one. I don't have a darker shade, and I feel like, yeah, I guess we'll go with this one. And just kind of blend it out a bit. This is a very pretty shade. I just don't want it to be quite as intense, my lip color today. I really like the lip crayon. What is this full name, actually? Lip Sketch Hydrating Crayon. I really like this. It's a very comfortable wearing product. And it's thick enough where I feel like it stays put. Sometimes lip pencils that are more hydrating, like this one, can kind of slip and slide around your face. This one doesn't. And then I'm gonna actually just take my finger and blend it all kind of out. That's the lip color kind of blended out. I'm actually gonna go on with a brown lip liner because I feel like I look a little bit crazy. Even though in person, the shade isn't quite as intense. Like, it looks a lot brighter in the monitor than it does in person. But I'm gonna take this dark brown lip liner from Say in the shade Tease. And we're just gonna go around the edge just to tone it down a bit. And then again, just blend with our fingers. All right, I'm happy with that. Toned it down enough. I'm gonna put a little bit of the Ole Henriksen lip balm on. Just for a bit of shine. I don't really want to put Tahiti on just because it's a little bit bright, and I'm trying to be a little less bright right now on my lips for the day. But I really like the formula of these lip crayons. They're very comfortable to wear. And yeah, that is it. That is it for my full face of ILIA. I want to recap the blush a little bit so we can talk a little bit more about it. But what do you guys think of the final look? Let me know down below. Now let's jump right into final thoughts about the ILIA blurring blush. So again, this is their soft focus blurring blush, and I do feel like it gives... Should we apply more? You know what? Someone arrest me for the amount of blush I'm about to put on. I'm using this brush here. One. That's it. Already, do you see? We're gonna do this. And then we're just gonna on the apples of the cheeks. Just a little bit. Just a touch. Do you see how much that applied? Oh my god. I'm gonna look like a clown. My husband's gonna come home and be like, are you okay? And the answer is no, I'm not okay. I have a blush addiction, but I feel like everyone does. That's not true. I have friends who do not have blush blindness, and they're crushing life right now. Unlike me, who, why? But blush fades. By the end of the day, this still is on. Like, this lasts me all day. I don't know. This is not like a quick fading blush, but I feel like I always blush always in photos, at least, not that I'm taking pictures today, but in photos at least, they're the first thing to it's the first thing to disappear. Anyways, let's talk about the blush. So again, I'm wearing the shade Wonder. I really enjoy this. It's a very, very pretty shade. And I really like this formula because it's, let me just do another swatch for you right here so you can see this, the shade here. And look how pretty that is. I'm obsessed with it. It is a very pretty shade. It is a very comfortable wear blush. What I like about the way it's packed in the pan is it's not packed in the pan like super, super tight, but it's also, it doesn't fluff. I don't know how to explain it. It's a very interesting formula. The way that it feels, even like when you touch it, I don't know if you can see because I've used this a ton, so you might not be able to see it, but it almost had like a fabric lookingness to the pattern on top. It almost looks like suede is what this actual product looks like up close. It kind of has like a suede like view look to it, and it's very, very dry, but not dry where it looks dry, but it has a nice dryness to it. Some more powder blushes don't have that. This definitely has that. Now that I added more, let's go around the edge so we don't look absolutely insane, even though we already do, and that's okay. But this is a very nice, comfortable wear blush. It layers up really beautifully. It again, wears really nicely on top of powder, on top of creams. It mixes well with other products, which I really enjoy, and it blends really nicely. So when you're layering it on top of things, when you blend the edge, let's say like what I need to do now because I look crazy, it blends really nicely, but when you blend it, it doesn't get patchy. And I feel like that's really important for some powders because sometimes you'll apply a powder blush and then you'll want to blend out the edges, but you do feel like it gets a little bit of patchiness. Now, if I take, let's say, a brush like this and I want to tap it out, again, I don't have a patchiness to it. Can you see? It just, I don't know how to explain it. It melts into the skin beautifully, and it really doesn't look like anything on the skin. If I get close to a humbling mirror, it doesn't look like much. It looks way more intense actually in the monitor than it does in person. It's not quite as intense, but it's still slightly clowny, but that's all right. It really doesn't look intense, and I have some texture right now on my face just from time of the month that I just wrapped up. And also just, sometimes you get little bumpies, right? Like little erroneous little bumpies that pop up. And this just kind of glides over what texture I did have. And if it's a really, really big pimple, right? Like you're still going to see it because it's like big and just protruding out of your face, but like the little bumpies, it just kind of glides right over them, which is really nice. And overall, I'm a really big fan of this, and this is actually going to be a new formula that I do grab. I am interested in checking out other shades, even though I do feel like this is the shade that I should have gone for because I feel like some of the other shades might look a little bit crazy or too intense on me. I would also love to know, do you have other powder blushes I need to try? Do you have any recommendations for shades that I should try from this blush specifically or other powder blushes? Let me know down below. Every time you guys make recommendations for me, they're spot on. It is wild how on the money you are with your recommendations, so I love to hear from you guys. And yeah, that is it. That is it for my full face of ILIA Cosmetics and my review and try on of the new ILIA powder blush. And thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.